Hey, what's up? This is Sully from Godsmack. Strap on those boots, baby, because you are now in the trenches of the war room with the one and only Mistress Carrie right here on the Mistress Carrie podcast.
What's up? This is Joe Rogan, and you're listening to Mistress Carrie.
Her hair so lovely, pretty eyes.
Hey, this is Brent from Shinedown, and you're listening to Mistress Carrie. Hey, Carrie, go put your bra on, girl.
Hey, this is Steven Tyler, and you be listening to the baddest bitch in Boston, Mistress Carrie.
What's up? This is Aaron from Stain, and you're listening to Mistress Carrie.
Hi, everybody. This is Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters, and you're listening to the one, the only Mistress Carrie.
Hey, this is David from the band Disturbed, and you're listening to the baddest bitch in Boston, Mistress Carrie.
Hi, Bruce Dickinson here from Iron Maiden. Yes, indeed, Miss Whiplash herself, Mistress Carrie, is here to unchain your brain.
Hi, this is Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. You're listening to Mistress Carrie.
This is Dennis Leary. You are listening to my favorite, Mistress Carrie.
Hey, this is Corey from Stone Sour, and you have the privilege of listening to Mistress Carrie. Oh, God. Oh, yeah.
Hey, it's Mistress Carrie, reporting for duty from MCHQ for episode 226 of the Mistress Carrie podcast. And before we get to this week's guest, Chris Daughtry from Daughtry, I want to let you know that Daughtry are headlining the Deck the Halls with Daughtry holiday show presented by 106.3 The Bone in Portland, Maine. Sleep Theory and Devour the Day are also taking the stage at the State Theater on December 11th. You can get all the details and the link to get tickets at 1063thebone.com. And don't forget, you can hear me every weekday afternoon from 3 to 7 on The Bone. You can stream the station on the website or download the free Bone app. And because of Deck the Halls with Daughtry and the new EP, Shock to the System Part 1, I was super excited to get Chris Daughtry back on the show. Chris made his first appearance on the Mistress Carrie podcast on episode 52 back in June of 2021. He returned in January of 2023 on episode 137, and now he's back for his third visit on episode 226. If you want to get caught up, you can check the links in the show notes of this episode to find the earlier interviews. Chris and I talked about the writing process of the new EP, our shared love of Halloween, the upcoming holiday season, comic books, movies, and so much more. I always love having him on the show, so I was super excited that he accepted my invitation for a third go-around. So, allow me to reintroduce you to Chris Daughtry from Daughtry. Mr. Chris Daughtry, back on the show.
Good to see you again. How are you?
It's good to see you, too. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. This is our first day off in a while, so you have to excuse the beat up voice.
You've been out on the road with Stained and Breaking Benjamin.
Yes.
And it's the day off, the day you should be resting the pipes, and instead you're talking to me.
Well, we had we started the tour with a few dates with Creed as well, so we were flip-flopping. So I think the first started with like a 4 in a row or something like that. And then we had like a half a day off somewhere and then back at it. So yeah, it's been grueling, but here I am.
Where the hell are you right now? Do you know?
Yes, I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina. We were in New York last night and we'll be in Raleigh tomorrow. Yeah.
I love that you have the dog with you on the couch.
Yeah, she's been keeping me company. This is little Lila. She just turned 2 years old recently.
Aww.
And this is her first tour, and it's been good. She's been doing great.
She's good on the bus?
Yeah, the first night she was a little terrified because the movement, once it started hitting bumps and shit, she was clinging to me, but she's gotten used to it now.
Are you the kind of person that is more comfortable sleeping on the bus now? Is it weird for you to go home and sleep in a bigger bed that's not moving and hitting bumps and that it's quiet?
I actually don't sleep great when we're hitting bumps and moving all over the place. But I am used to just sleeping anywhere. You know what I mean? Like I'm I can sleep in any hotel. I can sleep in a bus. I can, I've gotten used to just being able to sleep wherever I am. So I guess that's a learned skill from years of touring.
There are a lot of bands that when they go home, the quiet, the comfortable mattress, they can't sleep.
Yeah. I don't have that problem.
Well, congratulations are in order. Your second number one song. Huge.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You've got to be so excited about the response to your music.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, just to feel like, in my mid 40s that me personally, I feel like I'm making or creating my best work yet. And to have that kind of validated, by the success of the songs and the reception of the rock community has just been, it's incredible. It's an amazing feeling, and it just, it helps me know that, me trusting my gut and my instincts were right all along. And there's more to come.
Well, you and I have spent a lot of time on previous episodes of the podcast, and just in the time that I've known you, talking about the ups and downs of your career, and finally being able to be in a position where you're making all the decisions.
Yeah.
And so to be able to make all the decisions and find out you actually made the right ones.
Yeah. That's not always the case, right? So yeah, it's definitely a solid feeling. And even now that I'm with Big Machine Records, they're still I'm still the one, making these decisions. They're just, they're along for the ride and supporting me in it. And that's always a great thing as well.
Well, we talked about that, your decision to go there, because they were willing to let you keep that autonomy and be able to say, no, look, I've been in a position where my career wasn't my own and I ain't giving that up again.
Yeah. It's not, that's not a fun position to be in.
So now you've made the decision to release this new music, and every band I talk to, it's a conversation and a decision they have to make. Are we releasing singles? Are we releasing EPs? Are we releasing albums? Because technology and the way that the business is functioning now, you can kind of do whatever you want. So
the answer to that question is we're releasing all of them.
Exactly. So I was going to say, talk to me about your decision-making process about how you were going to release this batch of new music.
So yeah, we released the first two singles prior to releasing the EP, which is a part one of two, which will eventually be a full album. So and the next single comes out when the EP drops. So it was kind of it kind of just happened. Like I remember having a meeting with the label, and I was like, at that point we had already released Artificial, and it had already been doing well. I don't think it was number one yet, but we were having a meeting on what the next single should be. And I was like, guys, if we're waiting for this record to be done, like, it's not going to be ready this year. Like, it's, I'm barely halfway there, and I still have touring, and I still, it was this like daunting feeling of like, I don't know, like, if we just pulled the trigger too soon on releasing this single, because I'm nowhere close to having a record for you guys. And we can piecemeal this together. We can keep dropping singles, and we can maybe have it done for you in 2025. And my Heather Luke, who's like my direct, person I deal with in aside from Scott Borchetta, was like, what if we split it into 2 parts and it's still a whole at the end of it? And I'm like, that's like the best news I've heard all day. And like, if you'll allow me to do that, I like 100% back this, because we've got at least, half the record written and pretty much recorded. We just got to get it all mixed and mastered. And then I can take the time on writing the second half without feeling that pressure of like, oh God, we got to just hurry up and get 6 more songs together. And now we've got, a great first half and a shitty second half, and I didn't want that. So what has happened has been just this, them allowing me to release this first half while simultaneously working on the second half, which is, by the way, super sick. And I'm very excited about it. And it was almost like, because the pressure was off, I felt free to write without going, oh, we gotta turn this in. Like, and it's funny how that works. When you take the deadline off, all of a sudden it happens faster, and it comes together more organically and naturally. And I was so proud of this first half that I didn't know if I was going to be able to top it. And going into the studio, I didn't know what I was going to write about, and it was, and it just happened, and it turned into something really magical. And I'm so excited for that, which won't be until 2025. But I think it was the fact that they kind of, took the rules out of the way, the way that we've been so accustomed to doing things. You drop a couple singles and then we got to have the album. I don't think anyone really has to play by those rules anymore. And I don't think the consumers are consuming the way we used to. So why should we release it the way we used to? And so I think it was just that. It wasn't like any kind of, master plan of like, this is the way we want to do it. It was like, we can do it this way. All right, well, if we can do it this way, this is great, because I do want it to be one full body of work when it's all said and done. And it does have a through line, and it does have a common thread, and it all works together as one singular piece of work. And I think the fans are going to get to see that. And part 1 and part 2, they're going to have their own thing, but they're going to also work together as well, like Voltron.
You gotta love Heather Luke. She's awesome. So it doesn't surprise me that an idea like that came from her.
Yeah, she's fantastic. We absolutely are. We're like so lucky that we get to work with her.
And I'm not going to let the Transformers nerdy comment just slide by.
It was more of a Voltron thing than Transformers. They don't, whatever.
Yeah, see, you're going around the rabbit hole. There you go.
Yeah.
So the second
part, by the way, are you seeing this link in front of me? Or is it just on my side? Okay.
No, it's just on your side.
The Zoom link is like in front of, anyway, whatever.
No, I just wanted to make sure. That's weird.
Oh, good. I've never seen that before.
So the second half, did you write it on the road?
No. We had some time off.
Okay.
We had some time off, and I spent a few weeks in the studio with my same team, Marty Fredrickson and Scott Stevens. And we're about 90% done with the writing. I'm about 80% done with the vocals, and then we get the guys to play on it. And so we still got a lot of work to do, but it's really shaping up into, it's heavy, it's dark, it's awesome. I love it.
I just had Scott Stevens on the show recently, not only because his band, the X's, is back together and releasing music, but also because his name comes up all the time. And the Four Horsemen get referenced all the time. Zach Malloy's been on the show as well. I'm collecting horsemen.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting. Like, I just had Dorothy on the show a couple weeks ago who works with Scott too.
Yeah.
To hear their perspective of working with you and then to hear your perspective working with them, because for non-songwriters, for fans of the end result, getting a peek into the creative process about how that person can tweak an idea and make it better, that relationship behind that closed door is really interesting.
Yeah. It's, we work well together. It's Scott and I both, well, even Marty, are artists as well, and they really approach it from the artist standpoint. A lot of writers aren't necessarily performers, but you got two guys that are also performers and artists in their own right. But they also really understand me and where I'm coming from. And there's a lot of times where we're all three just shouting out ideas and trying to be heard. And then there's moments where we just sit back and no one's saying anything. And then this idea will just present itself from the ether, and one of us were lucky enough to grab it, and it just, I don't even know how to describe it, because it doesn't always happen the same every time. Sometimes it starts with this melody that I brought in, or a title with or even a song that I wrote at home, and we go in there and we start dissecting it, and it turns into something just super special, which happened a lot on the second half. And then there's times where Scott will have this riff that he brings in, and that just sparks an idea, and it just works. And I think we don't sit there and try to create this radio formulaic, hit, so to speak. But melody is always paramount. Like, melody has to prevail overall. Like, it has to be something that, for me as a singer, I've always gravitated toward, whether it's pop, whether it's rock, whatever, the melody always grabs me. And that is the thing that I think captures my attention first with any song. I didn't know what Maynard was saying for years, but I loved how he said it, and I felt that he meant something when he said it. And that's always been, kind of my approach to songwriting. It has to feel like it means something, even if you don't know what it's saying. And so, yeah, I think, that's just a part of our process. And then a lot of times it just takes on a new form once I get in the vocal booth and realize that this lyric sucks, or this doesn't work. This worked on paper, but it doesn't necessarily work in the booth. And it kind of presents itself to us like, we need to work on that, or maybe this one isn't ready yet. And this one needs to sit in the pot and marinate a little longer,
Well, we're going to get a chance to hear some of the new songs, because one of the radio stations I'm on in Portland, Maine, The Bone, deck the halls with Daughtry. We're already talking about the holidays.
Yes.
December 11th at the State Theater with Sleep Theory and Devour the Day. We're going to spend some holiday quality time together.
And we will be playing the entire first half so we'll be playing all of part one in the set. So
Are you doing any more of that acoustic stuff? Because the last time I saw you live, you guys were doing a lot of acoustic stuff.
Yeah, that was a whole tour we did. We don't have any of that on the books right now. We had thought about doing that every year to cap off a tour, but this year it just hasn't lined up, which is okay. I mean, I'm much happier doing the full energy shows, and we're having a blast doing them. So we don't want that to end anytime soon.
Is it more naked feeling sitting on the stools on the stage playing acoustic than it is plugged in with the big rock show?
Oh yeah. I mean, you can't hide behind anything. It's, but not only that, it's like, I feel like I'm in a cage sometimes, like I want to get up. I want to move around. I want to get some energy out. And sometimes that's really hard to sit there and stay in your place, during an acoustic set. But yeah, they both are fun in their own right, but, we're having a blast, turning it up right now.
It seems weird talking about the holidays because we haven't gotten through my favorite day of the year yet, Halloween, obviously. Right?
Same.
So I got to ask you about childhood stuff. Favorite childhood Halloween costume?
Okay.
Which Halloween costume was the best for you that you remember that you wore growing up?
I was Jack Nicholson's Joker, one year. I think I was like 9 or 10, and I feel like I fucking crushed it. I'm going to have to find a picture and send it to you, because I did my own makeup and everything. And yeah, I think that one stands out for me.
And then what about favorite childhood Christmas gift, because we're going to see you around the holidays, or favorite magical Christmas memory?
It was probably one of the ones that really stands out to me. It was one of my first Christmas memories, and I was like 5 years old, and I got we're getting into nerd world here. I got my first, action figures of like Batman and the Joker and the Penguin, and it was the superpowers from like the 1984 like cartoon, and I remember that so vividly as a 5-year-old kid, because my brother was like helping me open it, and he was like so excited for me. And I just remember that feeling of like how magical that was, and, yeah, maybe I was 4 or 5, but it was around that time, 84, I think 84, 85. So yeah, that really stood out to me.
I know it's a weird question for someone with a temple of a body like you have. I say that in jest because I see all your Instagram videos, and I'm like, bro, can you just eat a candy bar, please, and stop making the rest of us look like crap?
I took my dad out for his birthday. We happened to be in the same area on a day off, on our last day off, and it was his birthday. So me and my brother took him out to Citizen Burger in Charlottesville, Virginia, and I got all the calories. Don't you worry. I went hard. I went the truffle Parmesan fries, the burger with the bacon and the fried egg on it. Like, don't worry. I let myself go at least once a week, and I have my fun. But otherwise, yeah, it's grilled chicken and asparagus.
But what about, because I'm a big food person, right? Especially in the Northeast, seasons have flavors and smells.
Yeah.
So, like, what does Christmas taste like for you? What's the thing you eat on Christmas that you don't get the rest of the year?
Wow, that's a great question. Cinnamon always reminds me of Christmas. Anything with cinnamon, I know it's like it's also a very, very much a fall thing as well. But like, I remember these like these cookies growing up, and I can't ever find them. But they were like, I think they were like shaped like stars and maybe bells, and they had like this these green sugar crystals on it, or red sugar crystals on it, and I don't know what they were called, but I had them every year growing up, and I can't find them, but I always think about them every year, and I'm always on the hunt for them. So if anyone knows what these cookies are, I would love to know. But yeah, like pumpkin pie, pecan pie. Yeah, that's always like that always reminds me of Christmas.
I have a very strict rule about Christmas music, because I don't want the holidays invading my Halloween time, right? So it's like the Christmas music is allowed after Thanksgiving until New Year's, and then you're cut off. Like, you put it away.
Yes.
What's the good Christmas music for you?
Oh, the Burl Ives, the old Burl Ives Christmas music. Like, I don't need the modern stuff at all. Like the classic, like 50s, like Burl Ives, the voice of, the snowman on Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, that's Burl Ives. That is the voice of Christmas to me.
Yeah, it's
100%.
Are you going to be home for the holidays? We're going to see you in the middle of December. Did you block off some time to be actually able to go home? You did. Okay.
Oh yeah, I would. That would not go over well if I did not.
Yeah, Brockton D would be pissed.
Yes, very much so. Very much so.
I thought it was hilarious. The last time I talked to Lzzy Hale, her and I were talking, and we were referencing you in the interview because she was talking about how she has very few fucks left to give. And I referenced the last time you and I were in the studio together and the matching jar of fucks that we had simultaneously on our counters.
Amazing.
So we have to find one of these for Lzzy because she really wants one.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I wish I knew where my sister-in-law, or is that what it's called? Yeah. Yeah, my sister-in-law gave it to me, and I need to find out where she got it.
Yeah, Lzzy wants.
Which I'll be seeing her in a few weeks, so I'll have to ask her about that.
Well, let me know, because Lzzy Hale was like, "Oh my God, I need that in my life."
Yeah.
We're starting like a jar of fucks club, all of us.
We all need a jar of fucks. I need one on the bus.
Yeah. I'm happy that you have the dog with you.
Oh man, she has been amazing. She's been a huge source of my sanity over the last couple of weeks.
I bet.
Yeah.
Being on the bus all this time, what's the Daughtry movie or movies that you guys can all agree on in the lounge that you'll watch together, or what you quote ad nauseum together out on the road?
You know what's crazy? We haven't watched a movie together in so long.
What?
The fucking TVs aren't working. So I have my iPad in the back and I'm watching my movies. I've been catching up on like horror films lately. And I'd never seen like the Conjuring series or Annabelle and all that. So that I've been watching all of them in order the last week.
What's the best horror movie in your opinion?
The best? I'm not really into the slaughter porn so much, like the Terrifier stuff. Like I have a really hard time with that. I'm really big into the supernatural type horror. But I did see, I don't know if you've seen Longlegs.
No, I haven't seen it yet.
With Nicolas Cage, but it's pretty terrifying. That was great. And I really loved Ty West's, X, Pearl, and Maxine trilogy. That was really, really good. I think for me as a kid, the thing that terrified me the most that I've like to this day, I think would probably terrify me to watch is the first original Pet Sematary. I don't know what it was about that sister was it Zelda? Was her name?
I think so, yeah.
Was absolutely fucking terrifying to me. Like, there was something about, like, it wasn't the kid. It was something about that creepy lady that just scared the living shit out of me. What's the best of all time? I have no idea.
Have you seen, speaking of nerddom, have you seen the Colin Farrell Penguin yet?
It started this week, right?
Yeah. Did you see that?
No, I'm watching it tonight.
I haven't seen the whole thing, but I didn't even know it was him.
Did you see the Batman, the Robert Pattinson?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you didn't know that was Colin Farrell then?
No, not until the end when I saw the credits and I went, what? It's like when you find out it's Tom Cruise at the end of Tropic Thunder. You're like, no.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty bizarre how real it looks. And even when you know it's makeup, you still like, but he looks so real.
I know.
And his accent is incredible. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I've heard great things about it.
Well, I can't wait to see you December 11th in Portland for the Deck the Halls with Daughtry concert. And obviously Shock to the System Part 1. We'll get Part 2 next year. Very excited.
Yes.
I can't wait to hear all this new music.
Thank you. It's always good to talk to you. And I can't wait to see you. And we'll hopefully one of us by then will have found a jar of fucks for Lzzy.
Exactly. And happy Halloween.
We'll send it to her for Christmas.
Exactly.
Happy Halloween to you as well.
Halloween. All right, I'll see you soon.
All right, be well.
Bye, honey.
Bye.
There he is, Chris Daughtry. The new EP, Shock to the System Part 1, is available everywhere, and it's featured on the corresponding playlist for this week's episode. I make a playlist for every full-length episode of the Mistress Carrie podcast that features all of my guest music and all the artists and songs that we referenced in the interview. You'll find the link to the playlist in the show notes of this episode. You'll also find Chris's earlier appearances on the Mistress Carrie podcast and the link to get information and tickets on Deck the Halls with Daughtry at the State Theater in Portland, Maine on December 11th, presented by 106.3 The Bone. The show also features Sleep Theory and Devour the Day and will be hosted by yours truly. You'll also find all of Chris's links and all the Daughtry links and the Mistress Carrie links. If you liked what you heard, don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to the Mistress Carrie podcast. New full-length episodes come out every Wednesday. Plus, every weekday, you get the Sit Rep. The Situation Report breaks down all your rock news, music headlines, and entertainment updates to around 5 minutes. And you can join me live every Tuesday night at 8:30 Eastern for my weekly live streaming video show, Cocktails in the War Room. And you can always find me on the radio. Get the details on all of that and more at MistressCarrie.com. The Mistress Carrie Podcast, a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network.